it's me, Erin. Thanks for joining us on the More Love podcast. Do not tell Rebecca, but this podcast is about empathy. She likes people to think she's dead inside, but the truth is she's a big-time feeler who has truly helped me uncover that empathy is my superpower. Oh, here she comes.
Hey, bestie.
Hi, love.
What are you doing?
Oh, just getting ready to host a podcast.
A podcast? About what?
Life. Our life as best friends who are more like sisters.
Ah, yay! I love us, and I can't wait to share our stories with the world.
Especially the ones that involve us pushing each other, right? To be our most authentic selves.
Oh, man. Okay.
Excuse me, ma'am. That's where Rebecca usually sits for the podcast. Who are you? Oh, it is you. Oh, wow. I haven't talked to you in 3 weeks.
I know, it's not good.
I haven't seen you in however long.
I know. I just looked down.
The last podcast.
I just looked down at my pants and there's wine all over them. It's fine. It's fine.
It's good. If that's not just a little representation of how life's going.
I got out Pound Town for a reason.
So you got the grounding chakra
the Pound Town.
That's good. That's good. I was going to have Scott come in today and sit in your seat.
My seat, I know.
And be like, well, hi, close your eyes. Stop it. Stop it. Stop putting it. God, I don't know how many times I have to tell you to stop putting that shit on your W's.
I don't want it near my neck.
Well, there's a lot of other parts of your body you can put it.
We should probably put them on
You can put it behind your ears.
Feet. No, and then I'll smell it.
You could put it right here, like a
Ew, smell it.
like a dirty Sanchez.
Oh my God. Oh, it's so bad.
I love this so much.
This is so
Yeah,
gross.
of course, you're a hot disaster mess when you put on the grounding one. It's like you're anything but grounded. Whatever the opposite of grounding is. You're flighty floating. It's so nice. I keep having a...
It smells so bad.
Oh, it's so good. Oh, so good. Pound Town.
That is straight up that Christmas tree looking thing you put in your car.
No.
Yes, it is. It is
not.
bad.
It is not. I keep having nerve pain right here in my
I don't want it.
Right boob.
I don't want to hear it.
So listen, I'm trying to relate with you. And so I have just a little bit of experience of nerve pain in my right boob, under boob, all the way back to my shoulder blade and up my neck. And I can really relate and have a lot of sympathy for your shingles experience and the fire blaster that is nerve pain. And I've only had it for 3 or 4 days now, and I don't like it.
Imagine that experience into your ear constantly. That's what I've been experiencing for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, to the point where I literally Googled, can you have shingles without the rash? Apparently you can.
You can?
It's just it's like a nerve residual thing. But mine is it's the worst up here, and it's the worst in my hip and going down into my foot.
In your buttocks.
In my butt, yeah. That's been months.
Is that a trapped pain?
I think so.
Sure
I
is.
think so.
And as we remember from my buttocks incident,
I know.
It's anger.
I know. No, I'm very clear it's anger.
You angry.
But I can't really, I haven't figured out how to release it yet.
I got to read you this text message I got from Renee this morning.
What?
So funny.
What?
Okay, 8:53 a.m. This is from Renee. Last night on my way home from choir, I had to call the police because a man was on the corner swinging around his penis.
What?
I just didn't want a kid seeing it. Just doing God's work over here.
What?
So I write back, oh my God, what do you mean swinging around? She's like, I mean, his pants were down and he was swinging that puppy around to bring attention to it. The police asked if I wanted to press charges. I said, well, he's probably mentally ill. And the police said, yes, he is. She said, I just want him to be safe.
I can't. Ew.
All I can imagine right now is on the corner, someone doing the helicopter.
I can't. Oh my God. I feel bad that she had experienced that. That's traumatizing.
This pure Renee, though. She's like, okay, yep, I saw that. That's fine. Who am I here for? The kids. I want to make sure that the kids.
Right.
I want to make sure
what would I
he
have
is
done?
safe and honked.
Get it off!
Take it off.
Then took a picture of it, like, look what I just saw.
You would have stopped, put the window down. Excuse me.
Yeah.
I need to take a picture. Send it to my best friend. Little whirly gig over there. You're doing a great job. Poor Renee is just like, it's about the kids. I want to make sure no kids are harmed.
I mean, that's
in
very
this
sweet.
helicopter experience. And then she's
It's
like,
very sweet.
And they're like, would you like to press charges? Because, that is indecent exposure and probably also some form of harassment, right?
In theory,
you can't just expose yourself to people. And she's just like, he's probably ill.
Yeah, if he wasn't,
then he's more power to him. He's basically going to Burning Man.
I mean, live your best life, buddy. Do what you got to do.
I got something else to share with us today. It has to do with this.
Pause?
Some pause.
Okay.
It has to do with some pause.
I love pause.
So, Scott, you got your pause? You got your pause, Scott?
Of course.
Okay.
It's always handy.
This is yes.
My
Everybody's got their pause.
My pause has water drip marks on it.
Yeah, that's about right.
Your paw has seen
paw.
better days.
Yeah. So, Kelli-up-the-street gave me my birthday present a couple days ago.
Aw.
Is it April? Yeah, it was my birthday in January.
It's fine.
I was confused about did I actually miss your
like,
birthday?
I missed your, oh no.
I feel like an asshole.
No, you were right on track. But Kelli-up-the-street, as she's handing these to me, she's dying. She is cracking up.
Okay.
And I'm like, what? She's like, I just cannot wait for you to open these. She's like, it had a lot bigger of an intention than when it showed up. I thought this is not going to work for what I thought. So it has to do with pause.
Okay.
I'm actually going to give you the experience of opening these so that you can experience what I experienced. So this is my birthday present from Kelli-up-the-street. Look at your face.
I know. I've seen. Do you put this on the cat paws? I've seen these online. Oh,
they
my God.
These mini hands.
That's hilarious.
Hilarious. Like they're all in different. That one's giving the middle finger.
Right.
That one's just a
Peace
normal
sign.
hand. This one's
is the
giving the peace sign.
Here's the shocker.
Oh,
Those are the ones that you put on your fingers?
Yeah, but you put them on the cat paws.
you do. You put them on your fingers, but she saw something on the TikTok.
Yeah, I saw a video of someone
this
like
one.
I know, yeah, that one. Yeah,
rubbing their
we had
cat.
a little fun with that one.
They're
That
rubbing
one
their
is
cat with
not fully developed.
That one needs a little trim.
Yeah, these
Don't
little
we all?
trim.
That's hilarious.
And so she's like, I got these because I thought you could put them on the cat paws.
Yes.
And, like he'd take little Sullivan's paw and be like this, you know, and he's given the peace sign or whatever.
It's hilarious.
So then as I'm looking at them, I'm like, oh, yeah, those are not going to fit. Those are absolutely
paws
not
are too
going to
big?
fit. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're made for fingers.
Look how tiny these are.
No, you just squish it. Taste's paws would fit in. You just shove them in.
way.
Just cram it in there.
No way.
Oh, yeah.
This one is like, you gotta fight, dude, for your right. Boom, boom. Oh, that sounded really realistic.
It sure did. It sure did. Did I go to the cat show this weekend? Yes. Yes. Here's the best part. It costs $30 to get in.
What?
And Taylor, because it's like $10 a person. And Taylor decided at the last minute to go, but we went after dance. So we went for the last hour.
Okay.
Did I stand there looking for somebody to pay? Yes. Did Taylor go, Mom, just walk in?
Wow.
Did we just walk in?
Wow. Taylor was you and you
Taylor,
were me in that moment.
I know. I was like, what? She goes, Mom, no one's here. We're going to be here for 10 minutes. Look at the damn cats.
Right. Pet, what do you call that? The long-haired ones?
Oh, yeah. They did not.
I want to call it a meringue. That's not what it is. What are they
Mancoon.
called? Mancoon.
That's the big one. They did.
That's a pie.
Yeah, meringue. They did not have a hairless one.
Oh, they did not?
No, but it would have been funny if somebody had one of those paws on their paws.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
I mean, these people are nuts. These people have perfume. They have hair dryers. I mean, they are like
Oh, absolutely.
all in.
Cat perfume? I like that. You want some of that, don't you?
Look at that.
I love this. Look at this little guy.
That's the shocker.
Nee. So we're going to have a lot of fun with these. This one's my favorite. Boom. This one, boom, boom. So these are supposed to go on the cat paws. And she's dying. She's
You got to give me one
to me.
You got to give me one to take home.
Which, here you go.
The middle finger. Tice is like,
Are you going to try it on the cat?
yes.
Which one should you give? This is a peace sign. Do you want the shocker, the peace sign?
Whatever you want to give me. And you know I'm going home and doing it immediately.
Yeah, I know. I'm not going to give you the one that wasn't fully formed. Oh,
Thank you. Thank you.
You like that?
I will give it back to you.
Yes. Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, right.
You just steal it next time you come over.
Excuse me. I'd like my hand back. Where's my hand?
It is pretty funny.
These are really hilarious.
Yeah.
So
nailed it.
So that's fun. All right. Why don't you hit us with a card? You got a card today?
I do. I wasn't really feeling the energy, but this is interesting.
Really?
Yeah. I'm feeling a little blah. But this one's called Justice.
Okay.
And Balance, which is also apropos.
Okay. Oh, look at that. It's a little mermaid with a
Justice.
thing.
And a sword.
Yep.
A sword and a, what is that thing called? A weight, like a balance?
Oh, like the law firm
Yeah, like justice.
justice sign.
The law firm.
Pat Slagle has a tattoo of that on his.
No, he does not.
Yeah, of his, not of the mermaid, but of
That's
the
funny.
justice.
I mean, good for him.
He just became a judge.
I know. That's amazing.
I told him from now on, I call him Your Honor. Your Honor. Your Honor.
All rise.
Yes, Your
When
Honor.
he comes in the house, all rise.
So for the sake of the rest of everyone in the world who doesn't know what you're talking about, who's this person?
Oh, it's Lady A's husband. I was rewatching one of
Oh,
our.
thanks, Scott. We just assume people are with us all the time and know this stuff.
Yeah.
I was rewatching our podcast, and the amount of times we have the exact same reaction is quite funny. It's quite funny.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. Balance. A decision will be made, and provided you have acted fairly in the past, it will go in your favor. This can relate to a legal claim, a decision at work, or a relationship or family matter. When justice appears, you can expect to find out the truth of the situation. Through this, you will find healing and closure. The card can also reveal that you may need to make a decision, weighing up your options to find a fair and balanced way forward. True justice is restorative, so the card suggests that you will feel vindicated and stronger within yourself. An additional meaning is that your spirit guides and angels are supporting you in your life's path. Numerous meanings, right? So here's the advice. Take a practical approach. If you need to make a decision, go with what is realistic rather than idealistic. I'm not good at that. The solution doesn't need to be perfect. It just has to be workable. If a decision that affects you is made by others, accept it is the best that they can do at this time.
I'm telling you.
I know.
The minute that you
I know.
started talking about that, I was like, yep. Now, you know, this is the second time in 2 weeks that the legal situation has come up.
I'm not going to talk about the card that I first picked.
Why? What was that one?
It was Victory from last time, and I put it back in because I didn't want to repeat.
I can't.
And then I pulled this one.
And then the universe, spirit guides, whatever, we're like, you're going to hear it whether you want to or not.
No, I don't want to talk about it.
Wow.
I know. That's really interesting.
But so this is interesting. So I don't know how many people don't need to know all the details about this because nobody cares. But we built a house now 3 years ago.
I can't believe how fast.
And to say that the ending of that buying situation was an absolute shit show with people not fulfilling their obligations, lying, just things not being done the way that they were supposed to. And for the first time in my life, I had to take legal action against someone. We've now been in a 2-year lawsuit. Unlike anything my lawyer has ever seen before in her entire life. She's like, this is incredible, right? And I've just been feeling the entire time, 2 things need to happen. One, there needs to be a resolve to this situation in some way, shape, or form. And 2, that company needs to go out of business. If that's the only thing that comes out of this, that company is never allowed to hurt other people again or disadvantage other people or lie to other people or just be really bad at their jobs, right? And not do what they're supposed to do. That's vindication for me. That's incredibly important. We've been saying that all along.
Yeah.
And so the fact that we're very close, we've been told in May, we should be having some type of resolution or decision about this. So, for better or for worse, those two cards last week and this week, I really love the part of that card that says, if you've been fair to others in the past, that you can expect the same in return. And I've been saying all along to anyone who will listen, I have lived my life with the utmost integrity. I've never tried to hurt someone. I've never been unfair to people intentionally. I really try to give more than I take to other people. And I just believe that I have these spirit guide angels that are around me at all times that make sure that whatever's going to happen in my life, even though I might have hard times or difficult times, it always comes back to the middle ground. It always comes back to fairness. And so I really loved that part because I've really embraced that. I don't know how to live in a world where I'm over here fair and just and reasonable and kind and other people just continue to get away with really terrible things. I just believe that natural balance of the universe works its way out. So I loved that part in that card.
No, I totally agree. And what I like too is that I think you and I are very similar in this, that when we have hard times or we have things that happen that aren't what we were hoping, we go through the motions of feeling it and whatnot, but then we realize we're always good at the bigger picture. There must be a reason for this. And you know what? I'm going to wrap that up and then embrace what's next. So I think that is really hard for people, especially when they don't feel like life's been fair to them. And maybe that's where you and I just always had gratitude. Because, I mean, our lives are far from perfect.
Sure.
People might not believe that because we don't dwell or air dirty laundry or things like that. But when you live in this positive, grateful aura, I don't know how to put it, you can shift much easier.
Related to that, though, I do think I've had a lot of really positive experiences, whether that be through privilege, whether that be through just surrounding who my parents surrounded me with, the people that I've been surrounded with. So I have a past history of a lot of positive things happening. And in a lot of ways, I think that gave me the confidence and the ability to then say, okay, this might be a bump in the road, but I thank God, knock on wood, I hope this doesn't, come back to me tenfold. But I don't have a lot of examples in my life with hardship after hardship after hardship after hardship, right? Where you just feel like you cannot get up from this crashing wave.
Yeah.
And so that at least the light is always there at the end of the tunnel. And I know for a lot of people, particularly clients I've worked with in the past, that light has been so dim not able to see because they grew up with the cards stacked against them, right? Or they don't have a lot of those positive experiences to relate upon.
Well, I think that's interesting you say that because I have a mixture of both. I have a mixture of both things. And I think that again, it comes back from your foundation, like how you were raised and how, the resiliency of the people around you and how you're able to manage all of that. And you're right. If you don't have that sort of modeling, then how could you possibly, it's kind of like when you're going to find, all is the relationships around you. So when you go out to, find your partner, you're obviously looking to what you've been modeled your whole life. So it's not a surprise when people marry their parents. Because that's what you know. It's really interesting.
But then I think of Kelli-up-the-street, and I know she won't mind me saying this, but that girl has no reason in the world to have any positive outlook and excitement about anything based on the experiences that she had growing up. And yet she's very much like us, looking forward, positive facing, bring the best of the best, be a light for others, right?
But some people just have that spirit.
Right. So what is that? Is that personality? Is that spirit? Is that resiliency? Is that overcoming the odds? Is that, is that refusal to give into, right? So it's just a nice reminder that yes, there is a lot to say about past experiences. There's also a lot to say about personality or about sort of the characteristics of who you are as a person. Because she has 0.00. If she was the most begrudging, nasty person in the world, I'd give her a pass for it.
Right. You'd understand.
Because of what has happened for her. Right.
Yeah.
But she doesn't. Right. And I think for us, what I really like, even when we were going through the really hard time at the end of 2023, which I will say was probably one of the most difficult periods of time overall, that did very much feel like a crashing wave. But even during that, I kept thinking, there's a reason for this.
Right.
I will understand what it is later on. I kept saying out loud, this is giving texture to the story. The texture is important. Otherwise, maybe it would be a little boring, right? And there were many times we would say during that time, wow, we should be a little nervous right now. We should be a little like not in a good place. And what would we do? We'd go somewhere and go to an escape room and be like, this sounds more fun.
Right. I mean, we did escape some of it. Yeah. But then when push came to shove, we, got down and dirty. We had a lot of interpersonal conversations with ourselves. We came together, had a lot of conversations with each other. And at the end of the day, I mean, that was the key, right? If we didn't have that kind of relationship, it would be much more difficult to process emotions, make decisions, recreate opportunities, whatever you want to call it.
Absolutely.
Because I think that's where a lot of people fail. A lot of people fail in their relationships with their friends, their family, and their significant others. They don't allow that time to truly reflect, contemplate, dream, ask questions, all the things.
It was a grief process.
Oh, yeah.
And we identified it as that really early on.
I think that was helpful.
That helped.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We were like, listen, this is grief. And so what we're expecting when we go into this period is that there's going to be times where we have false acceptance of what's going on, right? And then we're going to come back to how much bargaining did we do, right? We were constantly like, well, could you do this instead? What if we did this? Let's ask them one more time if maybe this could happen, right? There were periods of depression in there. There was a lot of anger in there, right? There were so many of the grief stages, but to identify it as that, I think really helped us just acknowledge and find peace with the fact that what we're dealing with is
great.
Okay.
Well, I think that was the other aha moment was that we decided that there's so many components in our lives that are ultimately grief. And when you classify them as that, it's much more easier to process and get over. I mean, the stupidest things like
the eclipse.
Oh my God, we can't. I can't. That
there was some mini grief, I think we'll call it there.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
There was some mini grief.
But even disappointment or like, you graduating high school, moving out of your house. Yes, moving out of your house. So many things.
Yeah. When your kids go off and you're now empty nesters, there's grief there.
Right.
Right.
Right. It's not always associated with traumatic bad events.
Absolutely.
And I think that was the reframe that we needed to be like, oh my gosh, because it just puts you in a different mindset.
Yep.
And the conversations and the words that are said are either said differently or taken differently.
Yeah.
But as long as, but again, we have to, because of who we are, we always talk it out and we always put it out on the table and we always frame the conversation really honestly where, with other people in our lives, well, probably not you, but at least with me, I attempt to do that, but they can't get there.
Yeah.
So it's much more difficult because then it's like I have to manage both of our emotions, expectations, and whatever. And then I'm always the one feeling like,
here I am. I just want some relief.
Right.
I just want some feeling of, okay, it's going to be okay. I want some feeling of resolve.
Right.
And it can't get there because I'm already at that deep place and you're still over here processing what we talked about 15 minutes ago that has nothing to do with the overall.
Right. Or even 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So, like it's just things like that where it's so difficult and so energy, like there's just so much energy that comes from that. And not that it's not a resolve. It just doesn't feel the same. It doesn't feel the same. It doesn't feel buttoned up. It doesn't feel, it's hard to trust.
There's also like a false sense of confidence. So there was many times that we decided on something in those conversations that was going to happen that we had no clue if it was really going to happen. But we walked away with a good sense of closure because we had convinced ourselves it was going to happen.
Yep.
So there's something to be said about that false sense of confidence that you get in those conversations as well.
Or hope.
Right.
Maybe it's hope.
Sure. And then if it
Maybe
didn't
it's a
really
plan.
work out that way, that was still okay because we had like a part B that maybe we could have gone to.
Or something else surfaced and it's like, wait a minute. Ultimately, that's what it was supposed to be, or whatever. I think it's kind of exciting in a weird way. But then again, I really like the idea of the unknown and what's possible. You don't.
No. But I think that's why it works because you'll be like, well, what if we did whatever?
Right.
And I can allow myself to dream a little bit.
Yes.
But then I also provide the aspect of, well, that's really great. This is the practical way we could make that happen.
The structure.
Right.
You provide the groundwork, the structure. You provide well, did you think about this? And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
But okay, now that you said that, but here's how we do that. And you're like, oh.
Yes.
Oh.
Right. Well, that really brings up for me like this level of processing and what do people do if they don't have that person or those people to process with?
Angry.
Okay, it's just a trapped butt cheek emotion.
Maybe.
That's what happens.
I think people get angry because they don't feel heard.
Yeah.
When you're trying to rewind to when we had the aha, which was just like 5 minutes ago.
Which one?
The one that we realized that I process much quicker.
Oh, yeah.
When we actually said that out loud.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think I ever framed it like that.
No, yeah. I've known it the whole time.
Oh, you just didn't want to admit it?
No, I've just known it because I've been like, holy shit, she got there real freaking quick. And I'm not there yet. And then finally I was like, I'm going to get there because I know I will end up at that place.
Right.
So I might as well just skip forward through all this part of like having feelings about it because ultimately I'm going to get there anyway. But
I think that's where the anger comes from. So if you have two people who are having that conversation and one person can get there really, really fast and the other person can't, the one person who gets there fast is like frustrated because they're like, why can't you see this? But they're not taking the time to allow you to go through your process and get there when you need to get there because they're not seeing you. I think it's just this like ebb and flow. You both have to be willing to do the work.
Yeah.
The person who can't get there that fast needs to say, I'll get there, but I need to go through this. And then the person who's like, okay, they have to trust. And then if you don't end up getting there, it's just more of the process. I mean, sometimes it takes 10 years to leave your job. It's fine. It's fine. Sometimes we have to go through the process for 10 years. It's fine. It's okay. Because at the end of the day, my relationship is not based on your choices.
whether or not I leave my job.
You can any choice. You can have any choice you want. It's not about that. But I think we as human beings filter everything through our own human design or whatever you want to call it. So we're not judging. Well, maybe it is judging, but like you can look at my life and pick apart thousands of things that you would do completely different. I can do the same for you, but that doesn't mean you need to do it. And it does, I think people just get stuck in their own way. They're like, well, that's the way you do it. And if you don't do it that way, I don't want to be a part of it.
Oh yeah, that's me all day. Yeah, much more comfortable in that's the way that we do it mode. But
which is fine.
But I'm fascinated by this part where I said, so what do people do if they don't have anyone to process with? And you said anger, and I think that is how many people are walking around either half seen, unseen, not completely seen. And are having to make big life decisions.
They mask.
What do you mean?
I almost sent this to you today.
You sent this to me?
I almost did.
What is it, from the TikToks?
The TikToks? Yes. No, it's masking. So it was talking about this woman, and she was like identifying her personality. And she said, I find myself never being seen, never being taken care of. So I spend all my time and energy matching other people and where they're at. And because,
Was it me? Well, it was me.
Yeah, this was your TikTok.
What's that me on
this
the TikTok?
This is your TikTok. And then it said, And therefore I'm highly sensitive, I'm highly emotional, I'm highly connected, I'm highly empathic, I'm highly, all of these things. And they call it masking. And so now I need to go down the rabbit hole of what masking means, because I think that oftentimes women do that.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think it's a mental disability or whatever.
No.
I think it's just something that...
It's called survival.
Right. Yeah. I think it's something that we need to recognize.
Oh, yeah.
And when you're masking, it's easier to mask because then you have to make difficult decisions. Right? Because if I'm trying to have a conversation with you and you're not seeing me, but I really want you to be my best friend, I'm just going to fake it till I make it. Right? Or with your relationship or whatever. You just do what you need to do because that's the choice you're making.
Yep.
Right?
But then when you're doing that in multiple areas, right? I do think this is probably true for a lot of women. That may be overstating, but I feel like I would bet the rest of my coffee on that, because we are, by and large, very deep, emotional, sensitive. We love to talk things out. We love to process things. We love to, really get at the heart and the essence of what a situation entails. We will likely repeat that which has not been appropriately heard, right? And if we are doing that with our partners, if we're doing that with our friendships that, are not at that level of being able to process, if we're doing that with our children, if we're doing that with our parents, gosh, think about anyone in our lives that we're doing that with. And we're constantly having to lessen ourselves to not get the full capacity of what it is that we need from these relationships. Then I think there's an internalization of, I'm a weirdo that no one can possibly connect with. What is wrong with me? Right? Or it's this frustration or anger, like you said, that every place we go, we're having to have our needs and feelings unfulfilled over and over and over again.
I keep coming back to, I keep finding these things on the TikToks or whatever, on the Instagrams that talk about just women in general. And how many times have I said to you, if we went back to olden times, if we went back to traditional men and women gender roles, at the end of the day, I think I really identify with tradition, and that's probably the only thing in my life that I identify with in traditional senses. And I think to myself, whatever context you want, men used to work, women kept the home. Yeah. They made it comfort, they raised the children, all of these things. Well, then the minute you start saying, well, women have rights too, and they need to go into the workplace, like you're just disrupting the foundations of our quote unquote society, right? So then you're always going to be at battle and conflict. I can't be the mom I want to be while still being the businesswoman I want to be. It doesn't work. I don't think you can have quote unquote both, but I think you're always going to be disappointed in one area. So the decisions that you make have to align with your values and your priorities. So when you say things like not being heard or fulfilled or things like that, oftentimes I wonder, is it because we're getting such mixed messages as women? I mean, don't hear me say I'm not a feminist, or maybe I'm not. I don't know. I've never really dove into this, but sometimes I feel like women need to get grounded in what it means to be a woman. Maybe this is because I'm involved in a men's group and I look at the kinds of things that they talk about and what it means to be a man and what it means to be a powerful leader of your family and all these kinds of stuff. And then I look and I'm like, well, I don't want to be that. I want to be the woman. I want to be really good at being a woman, whatever that means. It doesn't mean a wife, whatever that means. And I feel really strongly, and I haven't found or even seeked out a group. I just keep going back to church. And when I joined a small group years ago, I went to this church and I immediately joined a small group, and it was awesome. And it wasn't even about the Christian piece of it. It was about the fundamentals, and And I think that's why our relationship is so strong, because at the end of the day, our fundamentals are fairly similar, but we can have bigger conversations. And it was nice to have conversations that would push each other. This wasn't like a, everybody has to follow the same. It was a lot of, well, think about this and how does it relate to your life, and you're working and you're not, and how does that play into, and how does that play into your conversations with your interpersonal relationships, even with your family members or whatever. And it was such a refreshing communal space. Yes. And I don't think, because we're all so, when do people get that? At work? At your staff meetings? Like at the water cooler? Like where do you get that if you're spending all your quote unquote day at work, and then how many times do we come home and still work because we don't get it done, and then run into our kids' activities, which your social circle is your kids' friends, because you're all sitting in the parking lot waiting for them to be done. Right. So you're all hanging out. Right. I mean, you're forced to be together, so you find commonalities, but it's not the same as choosing a group with a foundational message or theme or whatever. Maybe it's crafting. I mean, book club. How many times do women, maybe even men, I don't know, do a book club because they want to read a book together and then have deep, meaningful conversations about it and what it means. I think that's what this is in a lot of ways, our podcast. And I think that more women need that. And they really need to come into their womanhood. Sometimes I feel like the message about women need to be more masculine. They need to be more strong. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all.
I'm going to put my little paw up here.
Which one?
It's
the middle finger?
No. I did consider that one.
You did?
Yeah. I'm going to put my little paw up here. No, this is I have something to say. Okay. This is what we call, we're going to take a minute and do an educational moment. Okay. So I'm going to speak.
You're going to school me?
I'm going to speak. I'm going to speak to the listeners here for a minute.
Oh, okay.
Listeners. Hey there, listeners. I want you to know that during the course of that conversation, when Rebecca started talking about womanhood and started talking about femininity and talking about coming into their own womanhood, every feeling from my toes all the way up through the top of my head started to get activated.
Oh.
I noticed myself start to be like, oh, hell no. Okay. Let me tell you all this and that. And let me give you a couple examples. I found myself hating on men during that conversation.
Oh.
I found myself wanting to say, well, maybe if men made more money, I could step into my womanhood and I could actually write.
This is why I love our conversations. Because you're going to say it.
I know. But
you could have just smiled at me and been like,
Right now, I could have just done this.
Yeah. which is great. I love to hear this.
I know. But this is where I think this is so important, because I'm still speaking to the listeners here. Okay, I want you to know, if you felt any one of those things, it is the completely normal and appropriate feeling. But what I want you to know that I did in this case was I said to myself, you're listening right now. Intrigue. Ask yourself what she is saying and what you can relate with. What is interesting and intriguing? What is causing that fire in your soul right now with what it is that she's saying? And then I pushed myself after I got to the angry point where I hated men and I was like, oh my God, we're not going back to the kitchen. Like, I went through this whole thing. Okay.
I love this. This is great.
After I went through all of that, this is all what's happening in my body as I'm listening to this, right? And then I'm thinking to myself, find what is it that you can really relate with what Rebecca's saying right now. Push yourself to find out what you can relate with. And that is the thing that I want people to hear. One, we'll process that part of the conversation because I love it. It's so awesome. What's important here is it's okay to have every one of those feelings. It's okay to, in the course of a conversation, find yourself checking out because you're like, oh God, I have such a strong emotion or feeling about that. It's okay to bring yourself back to a place where you're like, that's really interesting. I wonder if I could dive more into that. Yes. Every one of those feelings is completely fine and appropriate.
Yes.
And you'll notice during that, as I'm having all of that, I found myself pushing to just be like, listen harder, listen more. what is the essence of what it is that she's saying and what can you relate with what she is saying? So that's me speaking to the listeners, just in case, because I know at least one Kelli-up-the-street who she's on fire right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's
okay.
on fire.
Okay.
Right?
Which is also interesting because, again, keep in mind, you also know me.
I know.
You also know
Right.
everything about me.
Yeah.
And I'm also just speaking really high level,
I
right?
know.
And
which I love.
Yeah.
But then there's also, as I'm listening to you, the protection factor that comes out.
Sure.
Right? Because I'm like,
people are gonna feel a certain way.
Right.
100%.
Right.
But I can hear it all day long and we
know.
can have a conversation about it. And at the same time, I can feel okay with
disagreeing.
Right. That doesn't make me not want to be friends with you. It doesn't make me not want to participate in all the things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that was my beep moment to
great.
the listeners.
That was great.
And now I'm back to the conversation because what I'm really relating with what you're saying is there have been many times over the age of 32 where I have found myself really wanting to embrace you asshole. Whatever.
The past 20 years.
21 for you. This jerk. You've been feeling it longer than I have.
Random. 32.
Wait,
32.
Wait.
Yeah. What was it about 32?
I had my kid at 32.
Oh, yeah. Okay. There we go. I'm like, this is so, it's 37 and a half.
Yeah,
Okay. So when you became a mother.
Yeah. I think it must have been some place after that, right?
Okay,
Within 32, 33.
Okay.
That I really can relate with the fact that there have been times I've wanted to embrace the feminine motherhood, caring, nurturing, homemaking side of what it is that I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And you want to talk about grief. I have very much felt a sense of grief associated with the fact that I don't feel like I can embrace those parts of myself and also take care of the parts of me that want that, business ownership, that want that financial security, that want that, right? And I know that they don't need to be separate, right? And I think I've done the best job I possibly can of trying to make them combined in some way, shape, or form. I have a business based in empathy and care for other people, right? But there have been times in grief associated with how much I would love to stay home, to go and do the grocery shopping and make wholesome meals for my family. The times that I would love to be the room mom, in school, that those parts are so identifiable with my personality that I can really relate with what you're talking about in terms of stepping into the caretaking, nurturing piece. I've also grieved the fact that that's not enough for me.
Yeah.
I've also grieved the fact that I do not feel like a whole person emotionally when other parts of me are not also being enacted, right? I've been thinking a lot lately about how much I wish money was never an issue for anyone anywhere. If just like we were either nothing cost anything or we were just so financially rich that we never had to worry about anything, right? What I would do that would fill my soul for free. I'd do consulting work for free all the time. I would do, right?
Well, you do that anyway.
Yeah, very much. Yeah, it's for you. So that part I can really relate with.
Yeah.
Also, I do feel a sense of anger and disappointment at the fact that I can't offload some of those historically feminine caretaking responsibilities in a way that makes me feel like they're still going to be managed to my satisfaction, managed, and I'm not talking like, my husband makes lunch and it's a peanut butter sandwich as opposed to, something more gourmet, whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm talking like there are times where there are things that are just assumed that I, as the mom
Or the woman.
are going to know.
Yes.
what size shoes do my kids wear? What yogurt are we eating this week? What brand of chicken nuggets is it that needs to be in the freezer? And so I have found myself angry about the fact that I can't offload some of those responsibilities to then focus more on these other things that do fulfill me: business ownership, creativity, doing the podcast, right? And that anger, that disappointment has to be displaced somewhere, right? Because otherwise it just internally bubbles up and then it's not good for anyone. And I do feel that appropriately, inappropriately, I don't know, a lot of that goes toward my significant other. A lot of that goes toward my societal expectations of men. A lot of that goes toward other places that my own internal conflict that can't be resolved for myself then gets shoved out in these ways that in a lot of ways keep oppressing the people that we want to step up to the plate to be doing more of these things.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it just keeps coming back to society, because I don't know if you would feel this way if you weren't bombarded with external options. Is that the right word? Like, if men are raised to be a certain way, then how can you expect them to come into the home and be different? Do you know what I mean? If women are raised a certain way, how can you expect them to be different? It just depends on the external things that come in outside of your foundational family values. So, I mean, we talk all the time about your son and how you want him to be a productive, not just a productive human being, but a partner, a good partner someday. But your mom likes to caretake and almost baby him in a way. Like everything is handheld. Well, if that's the concept. If he's raised that way, how can a potential partner down the road demean him for not doing certain things, right? So
but there's displaced anger, right?
Correct.
So then his future partner turns to me and says,
or
why did you raise him like this? And you know what I'm going to do.
Or
it wasn't me, it was grandma.
Right. Or he seeks a partner who's going to be subservient and caretake for him. So again, I don't know if that's bad either. I think the problem is that back in the day, you got married at what, like 15, 16? Like you just kind of had these roles established for you. And now some people still do get married young, but then they start to discover who they are later. So then things start to unfold, there's just all this domino and ebb and flow. It's just a lot.
In addition to all of the different societal changes, expectations, right? There's a guy
desires.
There's a guy called Jimmy on relationships. He's on all the TikToks and the Instagrams and whatever else that he's on.
Yeah.
And were you the one that told me he was previously in a really bad relationship where he was just basically a deadbeat asshole to his wife, and then he turned his shit around, and now he does all of these stints where he's trying to give the women's perspective on, this is how you attend to this. And I'm constantly snapping my fingers for this guy because I'm like, okay, he's got it. Okay, yeah, he understands it. Okay, I'm really impressed or whatever. So you take the upbringing that, we're trying to beat out of men in some way, shape, or form, mix it with some of these societal changes about these other men who are coming in and being like, you should be different, you should do different, you should push yourself, right? And all of that is sort of combining, again, for some of this displaced incongruity or, again, it's displacement. It's like anger about the fact that I see Jimmy on relationship gets it. So he obviously changed himself. I don't think he was raised that way. So then we turn to our partners and we're like, can you get it a little bit quicker? Right? So we're now doing all of this in the age where men are starting to be more forward thinking, more emotionally secure.
Well, that's the question at the end of the day. Do you want to evolve or do you want to remain traditional? I think that's the foundation, because if you do want to evolve, then, this is the woke versus the non-woke, right? Like, I think it's really, you can't have both. You can't, I don't think you can have both. when it comes to that. It becomes very gray and wishy-washy, and you just don't know where people stand, right? So I guess that's the question.
Well, I think about Becky Meter, and her daughter, who has like 6 or 7 children. They homeschool. They live off the land. They have always lived below their means, right? Like they're very traditional Christian. They're very, they are people who are very kind and honest and right, all of those things that you would want. But that would be an example of something that was a little more traditional. And they're not on TikTok. They're not watching these other things.
But that's who they are. She's not, her daughter isn't angry every day and mad that this is her life.
Correct.
Right. I think that's the difference.
Right. But why?
I don't know. Is it because of the way she was raised?
That's what I mean.
I don't know.
So is it that they're not exposed?
That's my question.
It's kind of like the Amish,
right?
When you do the free Amish, and then they go out and they learn all of these other things, and then it just evokes a whole lot of feelings that maybe they would not have had. But typically, the people that from the Amish that go and do this, if there's a name for it, I can't remember it right now, but go do like this thing.
Rumsticka or something.
Yeah. They tend to be people who have a little fire in their soul that had curiosity and interest outside of just staying with the community to begin with.
Yeah, but isn't that the whole argument today? Question the government. Question everything. Because just because we've always done it that way, or just because that's the narrative somebody wants you to hear, believe in, whatever, doesn't mean that's right. And I can get behind that too. I can see both sides very, very clearly.
Yep. So do you think if you had to pick one, you would have picked the more traditional,
100%,
live off the land roots kind of place?
Yes, and
I see that for you.
100%. But at the same time, I was working on maternity leave. Like, I'm a person who needs to do things and find ways to fulfill myself, but within balance with what makes me feel good. I don't feel driven to make $1 million. I don't feel driven to have a title. I just need to do something that involves adults and not just kids. That, I think that's the difference. But at the same time, we always, whenever we go to psychics and stuff, they're like, my God, she's so feminine energy and you're so masculine energy. Right. And so maybe that's the difference. But yeah, no, if I could, I'd be that.
I know.
Barefoot in the
churning the butter.
Come here, you want to come over for dinner tonight? No problem.
Right. Yeah. Welcome to my 100-mile radius dinner. I gathered all of today's ingredients.
Those flowers are
totally you.
Oh, yeah, I know.
That is totally you. Would you like to try your new buttermilk?
Right.
When the kids made this in the yard today. Oh my God. That is totally you.
I know. At the end of the day, that's really...
Because you were working on maternity leave, not because you just so loved what it was that you were doing. Again, if money was not ever an issue, you would be doing fun, engagement type, event planning type things for absolute free.
Oh, yeah.
And that would be what would fulfill your desire for adult interaction. And
I'd be that person in the school.
Scott.
PTA.
What do you think about one of our out and abouts around town being that we go visit like a Mormon community? You love that? You look at his face.
There's a button that's on your desk that you need to push right now.
A button?
Yeah, there's a button.
Turn it off like a light switch.
We haven't done that in a long time.
Get it?
I do.
No, that was for the Amish. The Mormons are allowed to have electricity.
No, that's the Mormon. That's Book of Mormon.
Did you mean
the Amish?
Did you mean the Amish?
You meant the Amish.
You meant the Amish.
I didn't. Yeah. I meant Mormon. I forgot it was from Book of Mormon, and I thought we were talking about like a light switch, which would then be electricity. But the Mormons are allowed to have electricity.
This is my favorite part about
literal.
It's the literal
all day long. All day long. Oh,
yeah, but then you can bring it right back around.
Oh, see
that
what
was
happened
Book of Mormon.
There? See what happened there? You guys are on Book of Mormon. I'm like four like depths down into how the Mormons don't have electricity. But do you think that'd be a great out and about?
Mormons do have electricity.
Right.
Yeah. Is that what I said?
The Amish.
The Amish.
The Amish don't.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Rumspringa is what it's called.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, you didn't answer my question about if you think that'd be good out and about around town.
Because I'm confused.
Like, what would
About
we do?
what?
Go
Go to
out
their
and
house?
about around town and investigate Mormons? I'm so confused.
No, we're gonna like embrace the community. We're gonna like learn about it.
Okay.
About
Be a part of
Mormonism?
it. I think Rebecca might be on the verge of headed there.
I mean, maybe.
No.
Philip, though.
I mean-
Philip ain't going. He's not going.
I mean,
And you know, there's lots of different branches of Mormon. Are you talking about
no, not fundamentalists. No. Palmyra.
Sister wives?
No. But what is
Oh,
it?
boy.
What is that place? Hill Cumorah.
Oh yeah.
I definitely went to Hill Cumorah.
Yeah.
For sure. I thought it was the Book of Mormon, like
Yeah.
musical.
Yeah. No.
Not.
No.
I got there. I'm like, this is real deal.
No, that's you were way off.
Way off.
on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that
Way
was
off.
So are you did you come up with that because of the traditional thing that you were talking
Yeah.
about?
Yeah. Why, you got other examples?
Well, no, that's what threw me off because Mormons aren't necessarily like that.
I think the Amish is a better.
The Amish would be a better, more of that old school traditional. The woman works in the kitchen, and the men is out. They're out doing.
Now, don't get me wrong. I don't want people to hear that I like that. I like the idea of people having a role and an identity and feeling really good about it. Am I going to make my own clothes and wear a goddamn bonnet? Fuck no. Am I going to wear my hair extensions and my press-on nails? 100%. Like, I'm not.
Listen, I have a question. That's hilarious. I just had a visual image come
Of me
up
making
about
my own cloth?
You. Here's your loin.
Yeah, my
Here's
loin.
Your
Yeah,
loin.
here's your-
Here's my question.
togas.
Are you okay? Let's say that you didn't want to be in the feminine energy. You wanted to be in the masculine energy and you embraced that. And you were the one who was out working, making the money, doing whatever. And Philip is like, I am just tidy homemaker and I want to do all this stuff. Would you be okay if those are the roles that you both chose and wanted to play?
100%.
You just like roles. You don't care who's playing which role.
I like, yes.
As long as both people feel comfortable in the role that
I like
they're
the
playing.
idea of people owning things.
Owning responsibilities.
Philip owns the vehicles. Like that's an unspoken rule. I don't give a fuck about when the oil needs to be changed. I don't care about a tire. I wouldn't even know what a bald tire was.
Okay.
Don't care. That's your deal. When the car's dirty, I don't care. Like you fix it. Like that's just it.
Right.
I own dinner.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's
Taco
no there's no way it would get to a point where if I open the fridge and there's no food, that's my fault. Period.
So are those masculine and feminine responsibilities in your mind?
Not necessarily. No.
Okay.
No, but
More traditionally?
no, just you sit down as a family, you need to decide how it's going to be.
Okay.
Yeah, because if the car's dirty and there's no food, they're both my fault.
There you go. If the grass isn't mowed, I wouldn't know how to
Are
turn
those
a
your
lawnmower
roles,
on.
though, Scott? Are those your roles?
That's what I do.
Those are the roles you play.
Right.
Yeah.
So is the problem is the blowback feel that I have associated with assuming that the roles associated with cooking, cleaning, and homemaking are feminine roles,
Maybe.
and the making money and power dynamic type roles and fixing the cars and stuff roles are masculine roles. Is that the problem that I'm having?
Maybe it's an expectation. Like, for example, Taylor's homesick today. Mm-hmm. It is automatic that I'm going to manage that. Now, if I couldn't, I would say to Philip, hey, I got a really busy day today. Are you able to do that? But it is my role to manage it. Mm-hmm. I manage all things children, period. Mm-hmm. That's just how it is. Now, does that mean he's not involved? Was he the one who got up twice in the night and gave her medicine without me saying anything? Absolutely. But I'm the owner of the children. Mm-hmm. The children come to me. Yesterday, Taylor asked me if she could go. She has a boyfriend.
Oh.
He came over the weekend and brought her flowers.
Oh. That's not that damn quarterback, is it? Yes. No, it's not. Mm-hmm. Oh, God, I got to talk to her.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
boy. Yeah, boy.
So he came over, brought her flowers. It was very cute. So
he's grooming. He's grown.
So she texts me yesterday and she says, "Can I go to Wendy's after school?"
Oh, no, not Wendy's. Nope. This has always been a hot button topic for you. You don't want her crossing that damn street.
Thank you.
Yeah. She knows. She knows Wendy's is a no-go. Wendy's has always been a no-go.
This is my daughter. Cracks me up.
Yeah, she put together a PowerPoint presentation of how she's going to be safe crossing the street.
So she's been very sick, but this is the best part. She's been very sick, and she texts me at 8:00 in the morning. "Mom, I'm not feeling good." And I go, "Is it the same cold symptoms?" She said, "Yes, but I think I can make it through the rest of the day. I feel tired because I got no sleep." I said, "Yeah, it's because the cough. Is that the worst part?" She said, "Yes." And then we keep going through that. We get to, I go, "Okay, I'll go through the medicine cabinet and see what I have when you can take it when you get home." I go, "But you're not going to soccer today because you're coughing too much." She goes, "Great." 1:55. That was at 8 a.m. 1:55. "Mom, I feel great. I'm feeling much better, surprisingly. Yeah. But I would really like to go to Wendy's with my friends. Do you think I can today?" And I go, "I'm glad you're feeling better. That's great. I'm just not comfortable with you walking to Wendy's. You also can't come back to campus and take the bus. I'm really sorry, but I'm not ready." She goes, "Well, there is a crosswalk, and the school stopped caring about people going to Wendy's because everybody does it every day. But I'll keep you posted and updated, and I'll text you every minute of what I'm doing. I just would really appreciate it if I could go." And I write, "Well, I'm in a meeting. You need to call your father." He goes, "Why do I need to call Dad?"
No, you're not calling Dad.
She goes, "Why do I need to call Dad?"
No.
And I said, "Because I need you to ask him how he feels about it."
No, we don't.
And she goes, "Okay." Then I hear nothing.
So then she calls me.
Right. So then I hear nothing. Nothing. She's not home.
Yep.
And he walks in the door.
Oh.
And I go, "What's going on?" He goes, "I talked to her. I told her that you're not comfortable." Again, we have no, he just, everybody knows. And he goes, "I let her do it." And in that moment, she's texting me every moment of where she is.
You can't. This is hilarious. No, not Wendy's. No, not Wendy's. Wendy's.
It's not Wendy's. It's the road. Wendy's was on.
I know.
That side of the street.
I know. We are forgetting that she is highly intelligent.
I know.
Highly responsible, capable of crossing the street. She's not going to let some person pull her across the road while a trailer tractor is coming through. She ain't playing chicken. She's fine.
I don't trust
Let her get her damn McNuggets. She's fine.
So
Taylor, call me. I'll give you $20.
Philip let her go. Philip let her go. And then she proceeded to sit next to me the rest of the night.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
But, again, the role that's very clear. Mm-hmm. She's not playing both sides. Mm-hmm. She knows she needs to come to me. Mm-hmm. She knows,
that you're going to say no.
At the end of the day, I am the decision maker. Mm-hmm. And so when I said to her, "Well, you should talk to your dad," she's like, "Why?"
Yeah, right.
Because it's not.
And she should want to talk to her dad because she has her dad wrapped around that
Phil
little
would be like,
finger.
"Whatever, go ahead."
Yeah.
But
Wendy's, yeah. When you go to Bill Gray's while you're at it.
Right. It's just, so maybe it's not necessarily, maybe I just identify more with quote unquote traditional feminine roles. Maybe that's just my own filter. Mm-hmm. But I feel very strongly, same with the job. I want to know what I'm in charge of. I don't want to be like, "Well, are you going to do it? Am I going to do it? Who's going to do it?" I feel obligated to clean up your mess. Like, either own it or you don't.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh, look.
Oh, he shut us off.
Shut us right off. Scott's like, "We're all done. This podcast's
like, "I'm over it.
Done.
I'm over it. No signal."
No.
Well, on that note,
go make me some meatloaf.
Okay. See, that's why we would be the perfect married couple. I know exactly what I'm doing.
I'll go make the money. You go make the meatloaf.
Okay. All right. I loved that.
Me too. Isn't empathy
Bring me the
amazing?
No, we're amazing. Hold on, I got
about all this empathy
Yeah, that was the end. That's fine. I
the screen
accept
shut
you
off?
wherever you are.
Is it back on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You. I love you too. And if you love us, please like and subscribe to More Love, the Power of Empathy podcast, wherever you get your podcasts.
See you next time.
Are you doing another one? Or you don't really have time?
I don't think we have time.